Welcome to my exhibition, Rien, nous, préparait, tout, préparait. Nothing could have prepared us, everything could have prepared us, at the Centre Pompidou in Paris. We are having a walk through the exhibition. I'm going to show you a few works, and I wanted to start with this 3 by 4 meter size inkjet print called The State We're In from 2015. And it's a ocean surface which I was so kept by how much tension was in the surface, the energy, a certain menacing energy about to erupt, but not quite clear when and how. And it felt like a good description of the moment I felt we were in before the political turmoils that hit the world in the mid of the last decade. I invite you to look at this picture really at a steep angle, and then optical effect happens, which is quite incredible. Somehow it almost becomes entirely three-dimensional. The whole exhibition, every work is really about how I look, how a camera looks, and the junction of what I see and how I can record what I see. And that is not always the same. For example, in this picture called LED Flicker from 2018, I was in Hong Kong outside an electronics shop, and this wall was filled with light bulbs that were all lit brightly. And I took my camera and set it to a very high shutter speed and realized that half the lamps appeared dark and half the lamps appeared bright. And that is because LED lamps flicker like 100 times a second. So this is one way of seeing the world, even though my eyes have recorded it completely different. We are having a stroll through this former library. On a normal day, there were up to 2,000 people sitting here, studying, reading, writing, and as part of the moving of the Centre Pompidou and renovation of the building, the space was vacated and became my exhibition space. Here we're in front of Panorama Right, a work on paper. It's not a photograph, it's ink on paper based on a photocopy that I made with simple pieces of paper and shadows and movement, then enlarged it to this 6 meter long format. There's a three-dimensionality to this, which is also akin of fences or borders, but it also has something quite dance-like, I find. There's a lot of movement in that. Let's have a look into quite a crazy room, because, you know, the library had a new carpet put in 20 years ago, which was gray, but they put the carpet on top of the previous carpet, which was purple, burgundy. And so when we took out all the furniture and all the partition walls, the different carpets became visible, and I thought that was a cool thing to keep, because it shows like a layering of time and it creates a design that I really could not have made up myself. In this room, there are works that are called Freischwimmer, swimming freely, works I make with light in the dark room on photographic paper. They are like drawings, and they are actually not involving any liquids in the picture making, but of course they are processed in a developer and fix like all traditional photographs are. This one is, for example, called Muscle and looks like the fibers of a muscle, but it's actually a drawing made with light. We are crisscrossing the space and going to all the way over there, which is the video on demand section of the show. I've been working with video really since making art, since I was 19, but only did it very rarely. Over the years, the last 15 years, 10 years, it became much more often, and now video is like a full part of my practice. And this is the first exhibition where the visitor can actually go into a menu and access all videos that I made in the last 35 years. So it's worth spending a bit of time, but of course others are also online anyway. We are heading into the second space because there is really, it's actually really one big space, which is an incredible architectural quality that the architects of the Centre Pompidou achieved by these huge ceiling beams, that there's no column, no support, and this vast space functioned great as a library. But of course, when I was invited, I was wondering where are the walls, and I didn't want to build tons of walls everywhere, but ended up transforming some of these library shelves, which were former bookshelves, into displays for pictures. And for example, actually this is the rear of the former info desk where people could go and get information. And I stuck a 100-page portfolio for a British magazine on the back. Paper and magazines, books play a central part in my work, and I like the quality of just the light paper on the wall. This one of the moon is a long favorite of mine, and it shows the moon in Earthlight, with the moon, with the Earth shining in the night sky of the moon, giving a pale glow to the dark side of the moon. We have to move on, and that is towards, we are going to a section that I've been passionate about for a long time. I've been very interested in politics since a young age, being aware that my private life, my freedom of expression is always dependent on the political environment. And I've been passionate about voting and wanted to encourage young people to use their voice and vote. And in 2016, I began for the first time to campaign actively against Brexit, against the UK, where I've lived most of my adult life, leaving the EU. And then later, we did a campaign 2019 all across Europe called Vote Together, Vote for Europe, which I thought in this day and age is an important message to give some space to hear. We're headed towards the large end space of the former library, which is occupying 6,000 square meters of space. And this, I felt, had this vibe of a spaceship. And I asked for all the ceiling lights to be taken down and made this curtain with a light-reducing fabric, and we shut out the windows. You can just barely see out, and it's this immersive space which has some lasers scanning the ceiling, and as a main thing, on the end wall there is a large LED that displays a 35-minute film of music and words and pictures. Let's have a little peek. This song is called Sound is Liquid, And phone call. Anyway, it's time-based. Obviously, we're in a short video here, and I wanted to show you one work that I like a lot, which is a table. You know, there were these tables are 7.40 meters long, and there were 20 students or people, all ages, studying, working on, and I love the ceiling and those beams that I talked about a second ago that keep up the whole building. And so I thought, let's have a different look at the building, let's change perspective. And I put a large mirror onto this table, and when you walk up to it like this, you suddenly see the entire beam lie in front of you. It's almost like a swimming pool you dive into, and it's this sculpture, this three-dimensional object that I have great joy with. I think you should come around this side and have a look down, but the Steadicam doesn't allow the camera to go down. Maybe you should try. It's there. Well, if you have time and the means to come to Paris or be in Paris, the show is open until the 22nd of September.